Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Flight 23.
The biggest superstar on the planet, Michael Jordan.
You better eat your Wheaties. And always drink Gatorade, because nothing's better.
My main man, Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan!
Hi, this is Michael Jordan. This is Michael Jordan.
It actually could be Michael Jordan. Air Jordan.
New Air Jordans from Nike are here.
Michael Jordan is CEO Jordan.
Yo, it's the Michael Jordan Flight School. My main man, Michael Jordan. Yo, Mars Black and here's my main man, Michael Jordan.
How about a little one-on-one? Real bag renewal.
Only Wheaties has Michael Jordan.
Well, I have my own shoes with my own name on it.
Hey, Michael.
What's up, Mike?
Black Mike.
Hey, that's my line.
Here comes Superman, Michael Jordan.
When Michael Jordan entered the National Basketball Association in 1984, few people anticipated the impact he would have on the court, but no one anticipated the impact he would have off the court. Jordan's basketball performance, as well as his off-court persona, have forever changed the role of athletes as endorsers.
Whether portrayed as a gravity-defying guard for the Chicago Bulls or as the father of 3 children, Michael Jordan is not only regarded as the greatest basketball player of all time, but also the most commercialized athlete of all time. But what is it that makes one person so effective for so many different companies?
His charisma, his success, his talent. He certainly is extraordinary in an age of extraordinary athletic achievement.
The best basketball player in the world. You know, that he's a marvelous athlete, that he's been a champion many times over. He's a winner, he's a fierce competitor.
And that's really what makes him invaluable. He understands style, he understands performance.
You know, whatever he does, he strives to be the very best he can be. And I think that that resonates with people, particularly in our culture.
And Michael, he's gotten to such a point that no one can touch him. And people, like I said, love seeing him, whether it's Ballpark Franks, whether it's Hanes, whether it's Gatorade. He's one of a kind.
He's the #1 pitch man. He's the most recognized name in the world.
It's funny because when they signed Jordan back in '91, Jordan was big. He was, he was growing and he was becoming a mega star, if you will. But I don't think anyone at the time knew how big he was going to be. So it was a fortunate. It was almost. I don't want to say they fell into it, but they knew that he was going to be something big, and he was bigger than he became bigger than anyone ever thought.
Well, for a company like Nike that manufactures athletic products, it doesn't hurt to have the best basketball player in the world, or in history for that matter, endorse your products. I mean, so there's a nice tie between Nike and the best right there, to put it simply.
It's a great matchup because Michael really does stand for power and performance, and they get the connection. Hey, also batteries are power and performance.
He has dictated how people use spokespeople, and he's dictated the market for athletes and endorsements and agents and the need for agents. He's as much as he is on the court, he's off the court in terms of marketing.
There are many ways to describe Michael Jordan's endorser qualities. But what specifically does a company look for in an endorser?
Obviously, Michael Jordan is kind of a classic case of a sports superstar becoming a celebrity endorser, but he also clearly is not typical. We typically look at several factors that we see as influencing the effectiveness of a spokesmodel, and as we identify those factors, then it gets easier to see why he would be good. The first is attractiveness, and attractiveness of the person, of the celebrity, does not just mean physical attractiveness. That's one component of it, but you also have the attractiveness of that person's accomplishments, and that's where Jordan, of course, scores pretty big. Now, in addition to that, he's also a pretty good-looking person, so he has both of those factors playing in his favor. Then when you add to that the attractiveness of his behavior, especially in a world where so many pro athletes are immature, self-centered, egomaniacs, you see all kinds of kind of negative factors that make people look at a sports star and say, I don't like that person, even if they're very talented. You have somebody like Michael Jordan who has been very careful. He has always behaved very well. And And so on all three counts, he continues to be attractive to the American and actually the world public.
He's a physically attractive individual. You know, he's got a nice smile, he's you know, handsome, tall, you know, athletic, you know, so he's got a lot of good physical attributes which make him desirable as a spokesperson as opposed to a you know, a Danny DeVito type who's, you know, equally entertaining individual but clearly not physically the same as Michael Jordan.
You also look for high levels of credibility, and the credibility come from both expertise and trustworthiness. And while he perhaps hasn't really done a great deal to earn credibility or earn status as an expert in products other than perhaps shoes that he sells, you know, obviously Nike is thrilled to have somebody who can be perceived as an expert in basketball shoes. In many of his other product categories, like McDonald's, I mean, there's no reason to see him as being an expert in those things or more trustworthy than anybody else. But in his general conduct, he hasn't given us any reasons not to trust him. So he seems to rate fairly well on the components of credibility, the expertise, and the trustworthiness, even though he may not be out of the ordinary on those dimensions. One of the other important factors that makes a spokesperson or a model effective in selling a product is the perceived similarity between the consumer and the person that's selling the product. This is the one place where you might say Michael Jordan might have a question mark. How similar is he to everyone else? Even though he is extraordinary and perhaps the greatest basketball player that ever lived, he's had a series of experiences that make him a little easier to relate to. They've, you know, kind of gotten a lot of mileage out of the fact that he was cut from his high school basketball team when he was a sophomore, that he was not chosen first in the NBA draft, rather he was chosen third, I believe. A couple of things like that make him seem more like he's human and rose above whatever obstacles he had, which is something that appeals to people tremendously and helps to keep him close to the average consumer, or closer to the average consumer. All of the dimensions that we typically would use to evaluate whether or not an endorser or a model would be effective in getting people to change their behavior, in this case consumers to change their purchasing behavior, he does very well.
When Jordan burst into the NBA in 1984, it wasn't like it is today. No shoe contract offers were waiting at his doorstep before he even stepped on the court. In fact, when Jordan decided to sign with a small shoe company from Oregon, Nike, he didn't even have the nickname Air Jordan. For Nike, Jordan fit within their strategy to sign the dominant athletes in each sport.
I think their strategy for many, many years, I think even pre-Jordan, was to do this. So I think they've chosen that strategy in order to maximize the association of the Nike brand name with achievement in athletics. I think, you know, clearly they're getting Michael Jordan was a part of that strategy.
Nike hired the Portland-based advertising agency Wyden & Kennedy to do the Jordan ads. Jim Riswold, who has written and produced over 300 Nike ads, including most of Jordan's, explains his first assignment for Jordan.
Just show him jumping through the air. Okay. And that's what we did.
It's all in the imagination.
Well, actually, when we were editing the first Jordan spot that we did, he just flies through the air. At that time, all Nike spots were just basically, okay, here's an athlete in all their sweat and glory, doing what they do best, and you're just supposed to sit there and go. And, you know, that was relatively easy to do with Jordan because not many people had seen that kind of leaping ability. But when we were editing that, I saw a trailer for Spike Lee's first movie, She's Gotta Have It. Well, it looked like a good movie, so we went and saw the movie, and that character is in his first movie, She's Gotta Have It.
Yo, happy birthday, Noel. It's me, Mars. Last year I had 2 tickets, a playoff game, the Knicks against the Celtics. I asked her if she wanted to go. She said okay. You know, I waited outside the garden for the first goddamn 2 quarters and she never showed? And guess what?
What?
Bernard King scored 35 points.
I remember that game, but now I was pitching a bitch.
Oh, you remember that game? No, I was serving the whole Celtics squad, even Jan and Bird's ugly mug. A vicious, death-defying, Brooklyn Bridge, high-flying 360 slam dunk.
And he worships Michael Jordan.
Please, baby, please, baby, please, baby, 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 please.
He's actively pursuing the woman of his dreams in this movie, and he finally gets a chance to sleep with her, but he won't take his Air Jordans off.
Nola. 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 Stop, stop, Nola, stop, stop.
And it was like, well, that's an idea. So we called Spike the next day, and about 4 months later, we were shooting the first round of Spike and Mike commercials. We did them for about 5 years, I think.
Do you know who the best player in the game is? Me, Mars Blackman. And I'm way above the rim, demonstrating some serious hang time. Very serious. Do you know how I get up for my game? Do you know, do you know, do you know? That's right, Air Jordan, Air Jordan, Air Jordan. Mike, what's up? Oh, money, why you want to do that to me? Why you leave me hanging? Come on, I got it. Oh, Mike, man, that's cold, man.
Jordan's spots with Mars launched him into the forefront of marketing and developed a unique approach to using athletes as endorsers. This approach is seen throughout Jordan's career and emulated in the advertising careers of other athletes.
Dave Kindred, who's a senior writer at the Sporting News, a couple years ago wrote about the effect of Mars Blackman on the NBA. And he said no less than Mars Blackman saved the NBA from extinction. His rescue of a drug-infested, money-poor, moribund league is a story so obvious it has been missed by analysts who credit Jordan himself. That's kind of cool.
Mars Blackman here again. You know, nobody in the world can cover my main man, Michael Jordan. Nobody, nobody, nobody. Nobody. I'm telling you, it's impossible. 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 Impossible.
However, it's easy to cover Mars Blackman.
Yo! This is Mars Blackman, and this is my main man, Michael Jordan. And this is a pair of tight Air Jordans from Nike. This is something you can buy. And this is a patented, vicious, high-flying 360 slam dunk. This is something you cannot do. Let me repeat myself. This you can buy. You cannot do this. Can. No!
I think that was nothing more than to take the ultimate fan. If, you know, here's a guy that so loved Jordan and his Jordans that he wouldn't take them off when he gets to sleep with the woman of his dreams, and tie him to the object of his, you know, worship. So it was just like, you know, he became the world's greatest fan.
Nola.
Yes, Mars.
Nola.
Yes, Mars.
Nola.
Yes, Mars.
It's because you do a vicious, high-flying 360 slam dunk?
No, Mars.
Because you're taller than me?
No, Mars.
Because you love, adored, and worshipped by millions?
No, Mars.
No, then what is it?
It's because he's got the new Air Jordans, Mars.
Oh, sweat. Oh, sweat. Oh, sweat. Mr. Nice, you gotta hook me up. Please, baby, please, baby, please, baby, 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 please. Yo, Mars Blackman here, my main man, Michael Jordan, and Professor Douglas Kirkpatrick of the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics. Yo, Professor, how does Mike defy gravity? Do you know?
Michael Jordan overcomes the acceleration of gravity by the application of his muscle power in the vertical plane, thus producing a low-altitude Earth orbit.
Oh, what?
Do you know what I mean? Do you know?
Money, check him out. Yo, Mars Blackman here with my main man, Michael Jordan. Yo, Mike, what makes you the best player in the universe? Is it the vicious stumps?
No, Mars.
Is it the haircut?
No, Mars.
Is it the shoes?
No, Mars.
Is it the extra long shorts?
No, Mars.
It's the shoes then, right?
Nah.
Is it the short socks?
No, Mars.
Money's gotta be the shoes. Shoes. You sure it's not the shoes?
I'm sure, Mars.
What about the shoes?
No, Mars.
Money's gotta be the shoes.
With the Mars Blackman Michael Jordan ads, it's got to be the shoes. We didn't expect anyone to think that it was really the shoes. So you poke a little fun at it, but at the same time, there is some credibility and authenticity to what you're creating.
Yo, Mars Blackman here in the NBA Finals. See what makes Michael Jordan the best. Is it the shoes? It's gotta be the shoes. It's gotta be the shoes. The shoes. It's gotta be the shoes. The shoes. The shoes. It's gotta be the shoes. The shoes. The shoes. Gotta be. It's gotta be the shoes. The shoes. The shoes. The shoes. The shoes.
It had to be the shoes.
We always try to put in a little something, especially with the Mars Blackman spots, is that when I was a kid, I collected baseball cards. My favorite part of the baseball cards was not the statistics on the back, because you could get those anywhere, but there was always a little blurb, a little cartoon up in like the left or right-hand corner that told you something about that person. It's like, you know, Ted Williams likes the bass fish in the off-season in Arkansas or something like that. And then that was a little nugget that I felt that I was privileged to have that, and it was shared with me that wasn't common knowledge. So I felt that I learned something a little more about this person. And I think we always try to put that, you know, into the spots as well. You know, a little hint about his personality.
Yo, Mars Blackman, here with the lattice lamp.
I am the genie on the lamp. I'm granting you just one wish.
What should I wish for? Do you know?
$1 million?
Nah, tax problem.
A new car?
Can't drive. I got it.
A wop bam my bam boom.
Look, Mom, I can fly. I like that, Genie.
I am the greatest.
Yo, it's the Michael Jordan Flight School. Learn how to increase your hang time. Learn how to dazzle defenses. Learn how to wear really great sneakers. Learn how to sign lots of autographs. Learn how to stick your tongue out during the game. Learn how to play golf during the off-season. Learn how to make the all-star team. Learn how to star in lots of commercials. For details, call us. Operators and standing by now.
Michael Jordan Flight School, not affiliated with the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics, void or prohibited.
Man, where do I sign up?
I want to star in a lot of commercials.
I want to increase my hang time.
For Jordan and his agent, David Falk, Nike was just the start. As Henry Louis Gates Jr. of the New Yorker writes, David Falk, back in the 80s, had intuitively grasped something that was still eluding many business school profs, the way branding can be a reciprocal process. Falk had no equity in Nike or McDonald's or Coca-Cola or Chevrolet. He had equity in Michael Jordan. The corporations wanted Jordan to leverage their brands. Falk would use their brands to leverage Jordan. Falk adds, we felt that he represented something as all-American as apple pie. So the game plan was to get involved with all-American companies like McDonald's and Coke and Chevrolet, which we did.
I personally don't know why he does all the ads he does, because he doesn't need to. I mean, but certain products, like when he was working with McDonald's and with Coca-Cola, you know, it's rather apparent. I mean, if you're going to, you know, build yourself up as an all, you know, a great all-American hero, those are great all-American products.
When you're reaching for the refreshing, one-of-a-kind taste that's out of this world, you can't beat the real thing.
I tell you, it's him. Are you sure this is his blazer? Just wait, okay? car.
Yep.
He really does drive a Chevy. Told ya.
Not only was Jordan associated with McDonald's, he even had a sandwich named after him, and it had his teammates singing about it. V.J. Armstrong, Stacey King, Cliff Levingston, and Craig Hodges.
They got no chance of repeating.
And they'll never taste the bite.
Jordan Special is back in town.
Cause when you got the right recipes on R-E-P-E-A-T.
The Jordan Special is back in town.
However, offers from other companies were rolling in, and Jordan was expanding on his All-American core.
Because we've always stood for the best. With what we put inside the box and who we put outside. Today we welcome our newest champion. And we've never stood quite as tall.
Companies like Upper Deck tried to build off the emotional attachment of Jordan being a hero.
Upper Deck takes you there.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You know he's not perfect, but on certain days in his life, he has been. The night he poured in 63 points, the time he crushed 3 home runs in the World Series, the day he found Dwight Clark in the end zone. And you wish at some point, at some moment in your life, you could be that perfect too. And that's why you cheer for him. That's why you believe in heroes.
Chevy also found success with humor in ads.
Larry tried to put behind him his ill-advised decision to buy a Ford Explorer instead of a Chevy Blazer. Still, deep down he knew he had made a terrible mistake.
Michael, this first shot is of our rafting trip.
When the Chevy representative dropped by to talk with us about our Blazer trip to Alaska, I bet he never dreamed he'd have so much fun.
The next one is of Mount McKinley.
We showed him the 190 horsepower engine that took us 10,000 miles through the tundra.
Now this picture is of a bear.
But I got the feeling he just wanted to hear about our trip.
There's the bear again.
There's never a dull moment when you own a Blazer.
When Chevy said they were sending a representative to talk to us about our new Blazer,
We had no idea what to expect.
Oh, wait, haven't I seen you someplace before?
Ed recognized him right away.
we chatted a while about the Blazer's great towing capacity, and somebody mentioned the more expensive Ford Explorer, and we all enjoyed a good laugh.
That's your card, isn't it?
He even took time to entertain the grandkids.
Is this your card?
You know, maybe we should invite him camping.
Jordan's association with companies such as Wheaties, the Breakfast of Champions, and Upper Deck Trading Cards is obvious. However, his link to products such as Ballpark Franks and Hanes underwear seemed more beneficiary to the company's image rather than Jordan's image.
The fiercer competitiveness among brands and marketers looking for more angles to increase their brand sales. You know, your Ballpark Franks, you're trying to gain market share from Oscar Mayer and from these other brands of hot dogs. You need something to talk about or something to say in your advertising, and hot dogs are hot dogs basically. So unless you have some kind of unique attribute like less cholesterol, less fat, you know, unique flavor, you know, you need something to set you apart, and someone like Jordan can do that.
Michael Jordan is going for the layup, and it's good! Jordan again, and it's good! Jordan, unbelievable! Wait a minute, what's Jordan doing? Did he call for a timeout? Don't tell me he's not. He is!
Great tasting Ballpark beef franks. The hot dogs love. And it's good.
With the increased endorsement deals came the question, how much is too
He has
much?
value. He is a product in a sense. And you may have heard the term brand equity that we use to refer to the value of a product above and beyond the physical assets of the product. So Coca-Cola is a product that has a great deal of brand equity because of its great positive image worldwide. Michael Jordan has a great deal of brand equity. His name has value. His image has value. And as he endorses more products, that equity can be seen to be diluted. If he does too much of that, people will see him as simply being a salesman, and his value as somebody who people respect and feel is credible and trustworthy will decline because they'll start to perceive him as somebody who will endorse anything for money.
I think early on in his career, marketing and using endorsers wasn't as prevalent as it is today, so there was a nice match with, in the early 90s or late 80s, he wasn't as widely used. But then as he started growing in popularity, and now he's such a, worldwide icon that it naturally, they've gone up together. His popularity, recognizability, etc., and his endorsements have gone up in the same type of level. So I think that at every point in his career, he's been pretty much seen in the right amount and the right exposure.
I don't think he's overexposed in the same way some have been in the past.
Even if he is not overexposed, does one company's association with Michael Jordan hurt another company's association?
His image, but in general, we would say that single ads, single products, single campaigns are unlikely to change him tremendously, but the whole package of things that he does are very likely to help form his image.
We've always enjoyed the privileged position of being, the product that Michael, uses, for his livelihood in basketball, and that automatically gives us authenticity to who Michael Jordan is as a basketball player and as an athlete. So for us, we haven't had to strive too hard to create synergy between athlete image, brand image, and find that happy medium. But because what we do is about what Michael Jordan does as a basketball player, for us that's very authentic to the consumer. So we've stayed pretty much focused on that, and most people and consumers are able to recognize the differences between something that is true to Michael Jordan and what he represents and who he is, as opposed to something that is perhaps an opportunity that any good marketer would want because he's so marketable, which is to take someone of his elegance, someone of his sophistication and character, and drive a brand position through that.
I think had it been reversed, had Michael Jordan come out and been a huge spokesperson for Ballpark Franks first, then his value to Nike would have been much less. And I think that's one thing is kind of the primary association being with athletics and with Nike and Gatorade.
It's been amazing how overwhelmingly people come back and say, we can't get enough of him. I understand that that's part of the business, that, he does have relationship with products, and even though that may be the case, we still appreciate any time we get a chance to see a different side of him and have him talk to us in a real sort of way. And so the net of that is, even though there is appear to be overexposure of him, if it was any other athlete or spokesperson, I think it would be too much. Michael just, his personality is so conducive to seeing him. He has such a screen presence. He has such a way about him that's grown over the years, and each year he's gotten better and better at it. So even if it is a Ballpark Franks or whatever it may be, he does a great job at pulling it off and in speaking to consumers. The net of it is Gatorade has no reason to think that it inhibits his message when he talks on Gatorade.
During the early 90s, Jordan's exposure on and off the court was reaching new levels, and each company was looking for a new and innovative way to use Jordan in their ads.
Depending on our strategy, we've always tried to work Michael. He's his own entity for us. We really try and focus in on what we're trying to do with him, a little bit different and distinct from our regular ads, obviously. We treat him as another property. We've got the NFL, we've got the NBA, we've got all these leagues, and then there's Michael. He's his own, he's right up there. He's as important, if not more, than these other ventures. So when we go into advertising planning, we look at, okay, what are our needs as an overall marketing plan, and how can we use Michael to help achieve these objectives. I think there was a lot of searching of what the best way to utilize him. I think what everyone tries to do, and I think we did at that original time, was to use him in a unique, different way. If you look at it, there is a lot of Michael out there. Everyone wants to have an ownable way of using him. Everyone wants to have something that speaks to their identity and their own personality. So I think that was the key driver, is use him in an effective way, not as we say, as a pitch man or a shill. We want to use him in a real relevant way to consumers, in a real tight fit to Gatorade. And so Be Like Mike kind of was a natural evolution from that. And then the other ads always have that charge. We want to use them in a special way that people will not mistake for anything else but Gatorade.
Sometimes I dream that he is me. You got to see that's how I dream to be. I dream I move. I dream I groove.
Like Mike. If I could be like Mike. I'm gonna be like Mike. If I could be like Mike. Be like Mike. If I could be like Mike. Be like Mike.
Michael really has the characteristics that really link to Gatorade, the product. Things in his characteristic and his personality that are also reflective of Gatorade would be his desire, his will to win on the court, his joy of sports, his joy in playing, even his humor that comes through. But I think the main thing is, again, his drive, his passion, his commitment, his work ethic, all things really, if you think about it, and we like to, are in the bottle in Gatorade. That's what we try and market. That's what we try and tell.
Even Nike was looking for a fresh approach, moving away from the Mars campaign and giving a sense of what Jordan's life had become.
What if my name wasn't in lights? What if my face wasn't on TV every other second? What if there wasn't a crowd around every corner? What if I was just a basketball player? Can you imagine it? I can.
That's him. I mean, that, you know, he never does ads during the playoffs. You know, it only took like an hour to shoot that ad, and I remember thanking him for it, and he goes, well, one, that's like fantastic. I mean, that's how I feel, and two, you're my friend, so I think that ad gave real insight into what that guy's life is like. And, you know, there's more times than not that he wishes he was just a basketball player.
As Jordan's commercial career matured, so did the social significance of his ads. Nike's ad, What If, shows Jordan's influential ability for an important cause.
What if there were no sports? What if there were no last-second shots? Would there be such a thing as adrenaline? Would old men still exchange high fives? And when 90,000 people get together and sing? What if there were no sports? If you couldn't join a team, what would you join? If you couldn't dream of touchdowns, what would you dream? What if you did something? What if you cleaned up an old ball field or put up a new rim? What if you coached a team? What if? What if there were no sports? Where would I be? Who would I be? Would I still be your hero?
Nike and Griswold moved back to using humor in their ads, and for the first time, Jordan hit the screen with his Toon friend.
Halloween already. Okay, here's some candy for you, and here's your treat. Hey, swell get up you got, kids.
Well, I just wanted to meet Bugs Bunny. He was my childhood hero, and I said, oh, I'm gonna meet him. I'm gonna use Michael to do it.
Peter Rabbit, can you sleep around here? What's all the racket? What's up? Jock, I was only kidding. Gruesome, ain't it? Of course you know, this means war. Air Jordan and Air Jordan.
What'd you expect? Elmer Fudd?
Nice shot.
shots.
This floors him every time. Yoo-hoos! Nice shot. This could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
That's all, folks.
Well, that's my line.
We did that twice on the Super Bowl, and probably one too many times.
Across the universe, people are asking, what fiend would steal Air Jordans?
Oh, goody! More Air Jordans for me.
Abuto.
Isn't that lovely? Yes!
Pebble Beach.
This is no way for a pampered superstar to travel.
What the shoes?
And they're all mine.
Give me those Air Jordans.
No, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, no, yes, no. Take these or else. That makes me angry.
The Scream Team.
Is this the end of our heroes? Will they splatter on the court below?
Mr. Network says no splattering.
Unsplattered Air and Hair Jordan. Things seem bleak for our heroes. Wait, a giant pencil with an equally giant eraser. I smell trouble. I smell popcorn.
Get your
Got butter popcorn?
Get it while it's hot.
Get it when it's buttered.
Is there a doctor in the house?
I'm a doctor.
What's up, Doc?
It's bowling for Martians.
With Bugs Bunny.
Our heroes have made the world safe for truth, justice.
And Mike's royalty checks from Nike.
That's all, folks.
That's my client's line. It says so in my deal.
Jeez, what a pig.
That was okay. Let's put Michael on the Super Bowl, and let's go splashy him bigger than Mars. So we put one of the biggest stars of all time, Bugs Bunny, with one of the biggest stars of all time, Michael Jordan, and saw what would happen. And everybody liked it, especially Hollywood, since they stole it and made it into a movie that, with merchandising and licensing and everything, made $800 million.
And how much of that $800 million did Griswold see?
Oh, about $5,000, which isn't a very big percentage. And some kind of credit at the very end of the movie, after all the caterers and and everybody and their mother. Oh, and by the way, idea taken from.
No one could have predicted what happened in the summer of 1993. Michael Jordan and his Bulls won a third straight NBA championship. Michael's father, James Jordan, was found murdered, and Michael retired from the game of basketball. But before James passed, he was able to star in a commercial with his son.
Michael, are these your hands? Mm-hmm. Son, is there a reason why you wear them?
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Think Mom would like me in these?
Maybe.
Just wait till we get our hands on you.
With Jordan's career changed from basketball to retirement, to his attempt at baseball, and then back to basketball again, Nike was the leader of innovation.
When he retired, we did the whole thing that he was faking his retirement. And then when he came back, we said it was all a dream. And in the middle of that, we did a baseball spot that, poked fun at his less than stellar baseball abilities. But I think a lot of things were based upon his life.
Good evening, America. I'm Steve Martin. A few months ago, the world was shocked by Michael Jordan's retirement.
It's time for me to move away from the game of basketball.
3 weeks later, I received a mysterious package from a fan of the Billings Bandits.
Dear Steve, this guy, Motorboat Jones, looks a lot like Michael Jordan.
When I spoke of this on a national talk show,
At first I think it's just another coupe, but then I realized it actually could be Michael Jordan.
the floodgates opened. incredible stories of exceptional basketball players, players who all uncannily resembled Michael Jordan. Then, this audio tape turned up.
I faked my retirement, so what? I don't think that was him. He didn't come back yet, but he's thinking about it. I don't think he faked his retirement.
You know, with that guy, you never know what he's going to do next. You can't blame the man. The man just want to play the game.
Did Michael Jordan fake his retirement? In the second half, I will show you the popcorn tape. The tape someone doesn't want you to see. Is Kilroy Jordan?
I don't want to answer any questions about Kilroy.
What are you afraid of, Coach Jackson? This? December 20th, a routine game, Bulls versus Hornets. The only recorded evidence of this game is a fan's home video, the popcorn tape. On this night, an unknown player, Johnny Kilroy, scores 79 points in only 1 quarter of play. Johnny Kilroy, or a cleverly disguised Michael Jordan? Alonzo, take us back to that strange night.
Well, Steve, I was standing about right here. Then Kilroy cuts through the lane and dunks right over me. The only person who could have made that move was Michael Jordan. That was Jordan, all right. Kilroy is Jordan.
Conclusion? Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, is letting nothing stand in the way of what he loves to do. And that's just play basketball.
So how did people react to Jordan's fake retirement?
It was launched on the Super Bowl, and I think it might, and I don't know if a commercial that sophisticated might have been at home, you know, in the Super Bowl. Might have been better launched in the All-Star game, you know, which would have been, you know, Jordan would have been conspicuous by his absence at the NBA All-Star game, and he might have had a little more focus with hardcore basketball fans that message may have been more relevant to. But that was basically, okay, everybody, let's capitalize on that and then turn it on its head and say that it's all a hoax. Unfortunately, the campaign kind of fell flat because it ended on the line, he's just doing what he wants to do, and that plays basketball. But unfortunately, he said, well, maybe I want to play baseball instead. So it kind of took the life out of that campaign, but oh well. But again, it was just, we're doing something that, you know, just portraying a part of his life that he's undertaking at that moment.
Yo, Mars Blackman here, my main man. Yo, Mars Blackman, here's my main man, Michael Jordan. Strike 3. Money's no Stan Musial, but he's trying. Say hey, he's no Willie Mays, but he's trying, man. He's no Ken Griffey, yeah, but he's trying. Michael's no Bill Buckner, but he's trying. Go ahead, buddy.
So how does Jordan react to the jokes about his baseball skills?
He actually reacts pretty good to that, and I think that's also something that we try to do a lot in the Mars spots. They were also the first time Nike had ever used humor in television advertising. But I also think that if you put somebody up on a pedestal and then pull their pants down when they're on the pedestal, I think people can relate to that person more. I mean, and you don't lessen Jordan's image any by doing it. People look and go, oh, all this, and he can laugh at himself? I mean, I just think it makes for a complete package for the guy.
I had this dream. I retired. It's time for me to move away from the game of basketball. I became a weak-hitting AA outfielder with a below-average arm. I had a $16 meal per day. I rode from small town to small town on a bus. And then I returned to the game I love. Shot 7 for 28. Can you imagine it? Nah.
Funny story about that, though, is like, you know, he says he's coming back and he has that first game, and we have to get these spots on the air like in a couple days. And I remember I read him the scripts over the phone, and there is that bit where he goes, you know, I was a weak hitting outfielder with a below average arm, or AA outfielder with a below average arm, and there's this silence on the phone. He goes, oh, Riz, what the hell do you want to call me a weak hitting AA outfielder for? And I said, well, MJ, what else would you call somebody who bats 199 in Birmingham? And there's just this silence. He goes, you all do it. So I thought that was a fun story.
Yo, Mars Blackman here, up after a bad dream. I dreamt money retired.
It's time for me to move away from the game of basketball.
Then he became a baseball player who had trouble with the vicious double-A curveball. My room was filled with Birmingham Barons souvenirs. We did a baseball commercial with Mr. Nike together. Then he returned. Gave my beloved Knicks a double nickel. Can you imagine that? Nah.
Before he returned to basketball, though, a few other companies took the baseball advertising route.
Okay, I've changed my game. The ball, the team, I like change. Change my underwear. Hanes briefs, Hanes boxers, Hanes flannels, stripes, Hanes cool comfort. Change is good if it's always Hanes.
Just when we get our hands on you.
When I play basketball, I always wanted the ball. And I got it where it should go. And I always drink Gatorade, because nothing's better. Now I'm playing baseball. I still drink Gatorade. I still want the ball. I still know where it should go. And sooner or later, I'm going to get it there. I hope. It's got to be Gatorade.
Hollywood wasn't the only one who liked Griswold's idea of the Looney Tunes. McDonald's also took a stab at it.
You're on. We need another guy. Yeah, and he better be fast. I have just a guy.
Then we get a guy.
Hey, give me that.
What's up, Bart? Can I play? No.
I thought I saw a footy tail.
Birdie. To all beef patties, special sauce. Oh, mine!
It's not basketball season. Duck season.
Yeah, give me that ball.
Something real familiar about that bunny. What do you think you are?
Let me show you. Amazing! Look, it's Big Mac!
Have you had your break today?
Wait, guys, Larry, you got to remember me. Charles, Bree.
But how would the basketball retirement and baseball hiatus affect his marketing value? Professor Thomas Boyd.
It probably helped him in that it helped to perpetuate an image of him as someone who has some balance in his life. He does not come across as an obsessed athlete, somebody who can only play basketball, who thinks of nothing else, who lives nothing else, which can increase his value as he endorses products that are not basketball-related products. In other words, here's somebody that has a life, who has other interests, who does other things. So in that regard, it might help him in his trustworthiness, in that he's got diverse interests, and it may also help our perceptions of his being similar to us, because most of us aren't obsessive and focused on a single goal for years and years and years and years at a time. Now, it might also have hurt him in that it did kind of take away from the continuity of his career. And after that initial move into baseball where he got a lot of publicity, you know, when it turned out he was not an extraordinary baseball player, he probably wasn't going to make the major leagues, he kind of dropped out of the news, and so he was out of the spotlight for a while. Now, there's some people who will say that's a good thing because we can get satiated with any personality or any product, so it may have benefited him to do that, but there are others who would say that no, out of sight, out of mind, it reduces his value as a spokesperson because we just haven't kept track of him and we've lost some interest in him in some way. And there's probably an element of truth to both of those things, so it may have balanced out in the long run.
Jordan's return to basketball also brought his return to the spotlight. A study published in the Journal of Advertising Research looked at the wealth effects associated with a celebrity endorser. The Michael Jordan phenomenon. Lynette Knowles Mather and Ike Mather of Southern Illinois University, along with Nanda Rangan of Ohio University, found that the increased visibility for Michael Jordan during his return to basketball resulted in an increase of his client firms of more than $1 billion in stock market value. Meanwhile, companies such as Gatorade were always in search of a new creative way to use Jordan.
To help broaden Gatorade beyond just the core sports of basketball, football, etc. And so they thought, okay, what's a real innovative way to use Michael to try and capitalize on that and, to tell consumers you can use Gatorade at other times. And also we wanted to use Michael in kind of a more contemporary way versus just, playing basketball, etc. So they developed this commercial called MJ's Head, where they have Michael, and the idea behind it is Michael is always thinking about other sports. He's always thinking about playing, even though NBA or basketball is his main thrust. He's thinking about everything from playing, running to, playing baseball, obviously, to everything else. And Gatorade's appropriate for all those occasions. So we tried to use Michael in that vein of broadening.
Gatorade. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
We had another spot called The Wall, where we really tried to capitalize on his will to win and how he's overcome obstacles, and Gatorade's a part of that. So we tried to tell the story of Michael's progression through his career and how Gatorade has been a part of that.
Don't expect too much from yourself, Michael.
Start on varsity.
You can't play at the level of North Carolina. Be realistic.
Forget the team. Think of yourself. Why go back to basketball? You'll embarrass yourself.
Had enough?
Just getting started.
Jordan's return to basketball with his same competitive edge came another NBA championship in 1996, as well as an NBA record 72 wins for the Chicago Bulls. Along with the trophy came more deals, including his movie Space Jam and his own fragrance.
Biggest superstar on the planet, Michael Jordan. And the best-loved rabbit on Earth.
Oh, brother.
Bugs Bunny.
You know that your friends are cartoon characters? Yeah.
Together for the first time.
In 3D land?
In a motion picture event.
Whoa!
Unlike anything you've ever seen. Space Jam.
You the duck.
Rated PG.
The movie was a hit in the box office, and Michael Jordan Cologne became the #1 selling new fragrance in its first year, and the ads had a unique style.
The cat didn't know what to think. So, take your chances. Step some. Double back swing. Yes. And he wins. The crowd goes crazy. Champion.
Mike Silvestro, president of sports distribution for the Cologne, states that the ads purposely had him off the court to show his personality and prepare the consumer for when he retires.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your favorite shape?
What's my favorite shape? I don't know. Let me think. My favorite shape. No.
A circle? Heart?
No.
Triangle?
A heart. Yeah, a heart's my favorite shape. What's your favorite shape?
A heart?
Jordan's brand equity was never more apparent than for his cologne. Bijan, the designer, basically sold Jordan's image in a bottle.
He may be able to make something work that nobody else could. Shaq, many people feel, has made himself into kind of a clown with his movie work.
Being a guy. Francis, I love it. Beaucoup, beaucoup, beaucoup. I am Kazam.
I don't think anybody saw Michael Jordan, even though it was a cartoon movie. I mean, he started with cartoon characters, and yet people didn't perceive that as being clownish in any way.
All right, here we go. Now you're going to smile. You reach in for the ball, and then you smile, okay?
Yes.
And you think this is good.
Just take the picture.
All right, okay.
What kind of camera is that?
Would you not point that at me, please, and close the lens cap? I ain't doing that, just
Jordan also was a success with a small battery company from Madison, Wisconsin. John Daggett of Rayovac.
He was talking about this renewed spirit of wanting to go back to his roots and go back to playing the game of basketball, which he really loved. And so our chairman at that point in time thought, you know, let's pursue him and see if he really does come back to basketball, then we'll have this marriage. And we'll look at having him be the endorser of our product called Renewal.
You know, when you have something special, you don't just throw it away. Of course, years ago, we thought we could throw away anything. Just use it and trash it. Well, we're all a little smarter now. Instead of those one-shot batteries, I use Renewal from Rayovac. Advanced alkaline power. You don't just trash them after one shot, you renew them, and they come back strong. They say the world throws out 20 billion batteries a year. We can do a lot better. Play it smart. Rayovac Renewal.
We really have tried to match him up so that he's in a believable situation, talking about believable issues, and matching up that power and performance with the power and performance of Rayovac. That allows us to have a different image to portray to consumers and allows us to differentiate our commercials from the other commercials where Michael Jordan is flying through the air, dunking the ball.
Rayovac used Jordan in a different light in their latest campaign, Fierce Creatures.
Michael Jordan is going against these battery-hungry creatures which continue to consume batteries out there, and once they meet up with Michael Jordan, armed with our Rayovac Maximum Alkaline batteries, they're tamed.
Batteries.
Video games don't just blast through your batteries, they blast through your money. That's why you should arm yours with Rayovac Maximum Alkaline. They pack the same long-lasting power, but cost less.
How about a little one-on-one?
Rayovac Maximum.
I challenge you to a little one-on-one. Try Rayovac. If you don't think they're as good as the other guys, you get your money back. You can't lose. I like that.
Even though Jordan may not be an expert on batteries, his face and image can be an effective marketing tool.
He's really kind of using himself as a pitch person, as someone to grab your attention.
This is something that makes the Nike ads unique. You're building upon something that's based upon him, so it's just not interchangeable. Athlete goes here, and oh no, we can't get him, so we'll just put him in the same spot. I mean, the Rayovac ads and stuff, you can put anybody in those ads. But an ad that talks about him faking his retirement or his comeback or his trouble are based upon him. And so you can't just say, okay, well, he won't do this ad, well, then we'll give this ad to somebody else. They offer an insight into him that comes from him.
A guy like Jordan selling Nike and Gatorade and Wheaties is great. I think some of his endorsements in Hanes and Ballpark Franks and the batteries and stuff is a bit of a stretch, frankly. And I don't know that if I were the marketing people at those firms, that I would be able to justify the fees I'm sure he's charging for that relationship. But again, I don't have the research either. I mean, if you got the Ballpark Frank people together, they might be able to show you all kinds of data that shows, we're so much better off with this guy than without him, that he's worth every penny we're paying him.
We relaunched our Alkaline product in fall of 1997, and we came out with new commercials featuring Michael Jordan. Well, since that time, our share has gone up 2.5 share points in the marketplace. Well, each share point is worth about $15 million of sales. So since that time frame, our sales have increased over $40 million. So again, Michael Jordan combined with the quality of Rayovac products is really a marriage made in heaven.
This is the winner. I'm gonna get rich. I'll get 30 million.
Jordan went on to win another championship in 1997, and it became apparent Jordan had not lost a step. And this was something that Nike wanted to capture.
everything that he does, if you boil it down to, you know, a frozen moment, a moment in time, it's really beauty, it's really art. And he makes it look so routine sometimes that you almost come to take it for granted. But for us, we wanted to remind the consumer that when he does what he does, if you truly look at it, you should appreciate it just as you would any fine art, because it is just that. The thinking there is to place yourself as an everyday fan. And the experience of an everyday fan who follows the NBA and follows Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls is, you know, if you're in your home and you're entertaining or you're watching a game, you know, and you're going to the kitchen to grab some more chips, and then you hear, you know, Marv Albert or Bob Costas or someone say, Michael Jordan goes baseline, immediately, no matter what you're doing, you go back and you watch the TV to capture that moment. Sometimes you may miss it and you're like, man, I missed it. So, you know, that's a very real emotion, and that's something that we wanted to convey. The game-winning shot in Game 6 against Utah, you know, was another one.
Jordan also took advantage of his situation by using Nike ads as the medium for his message to the rest of the NBA and the world.
There's something inside of me, a voice that drives me and compels me to do the things that I do, and that's what we need to let people know about Michael Jordan. So, you know, the two commercials we ran, which in my opinion were the most profound commercials we've ever done, the one he says, challenge me, taunt me, doubt me, disrespect me, tell me I'm older, tell me I'm slower, tell me I can no longer fly. And he dunks from the free throw line. And, you know, it was that kind of thing. I mean, that's what he was hearing. You know, that's what maybe some of the younger guys in the league, you know, who would dare, you know, to challenge him on the court were saying. And for him, you know, he doesn't say those things. He's not an outward person, but it's a very inward thought process that guides him and drives him to compete and be better than anyone.
Challenge me. Doubt me. Disrespect me. Tell me I'm older. Tell me I'm slower. Tell me I can no longer fly. I want you to.
On the flip side of that, 9,000 shots, he talks about, you know, missing so many shots in his career, and that's why he succeeds. And, you know, for kids and everyone, that's a very powerful thing for Michael Jordan to say, hey, you know, I failed too, but it's because I failed that I succeed. And every shot that I miss, I know I have another opportunity to make one. So, you know, that was, you know, sort of a thought process that came from him, you know, and he drove it. He didn't write the script or copy. He certainly approved it, and it was right on the money.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed.
So what do the guys at Nike think about Jordan's other ads?
It just makes you feel good that at least you can do good ads with Jordan, I guess. But what ads outside that I like that he did that I liked, that That one, I don't even know what the company was, but for that long distance company, those guys were hysterical. You know, he's making fun of himself. I mean, I thought that those were really good.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. As our new spokesman, Michael will deliver the LDDS WorldCom message.
When we see commercial.
People.
But we had something a little different in mind.
Hi, this is Michael Jordan. This is Michael Jordan for LDDS WorldCom Long Distance. Hello. This is for your home or business.
Come on, Mike.
One more minute. You know, they have these prepaid calling cards with this good-looking guy on them. This is Michael Jordan.
LDDS WorldCom, telecommunications service that's one-on-one.
Wow, I can't believe I'm going to play golf with Michael Jordan. You're kidding.
I gotta call him.
When you have to stay in touch,
MJ will think these are cool.
WorldCom has every option.
Fax.
Our Intellinet service has all the communications tools you need to stay connected.
Oh, if I'm needed, I'll be on the first tee with Michael Jordan.
Give me the Pro Shop.
Calling cards, local and long distance service.
Hello, Pro Shop.
Tell him I'm sorry, but I can't make it.
I'd love to, Mr. Jordan.
WorldCom, one company, a world of solutions.
Outside of those, I haven't seen many Jordan. The McDonald's ad with Larry Bird was fantastic.
What's in the bag?
Lunch. Big Mac, fries.
Play you for it.
You and me for my Big Mac.
First one to miss watches the winner eat. No dunking.
One me. Which me? Get in there.
Off the floor, off the scoreboard, off the bankboard, no rim.
Over the second rafter, off the floor, nothing but net. Through the window, off the wall, nothing but net.
What you want is what you get, and got us today.
Off the expressway, over the river, off the billboard, through the window, off the wall, nothing but net.
This is basically a Nike ad. They beat us to it. I haven't seen many things outside of that I went, well, that's a great ad. But, you know, I'm also extremely competitive and very narrow-minded and very opinionated. So they may have been the best ads in the world, but I can still say they suck. Because that's just me being childish and immature.
But how much of the Michael Jordan phenomenon is due to Michael Jordan? Was Jordan self-made, or was it just time for someone to come along? David Krieger of Inside Denver writes, "A key to understanding the Jordan phenomenon clearly is television. Even basketball stars of vintage as recent as Magic Johnson and Larry Bird had nowhere near the exposure Jordan has had. TV was not just the vehicle for his acrobatics on the basketball court, it was the vehicle for his exposure as universal salesman, too." Henry Louis Gates Jr. writes, "Michael Jordan has become the greatest corporate pitchman of all time. As a 20th century sports hero, he has plausible competition from Babe Ruth and Muhammad Ali. As an agent of brand equity, he is without peer." Has Jordan's race been a factor for his marketing career?
Michael's done nothing but good in terms of that, in terms of breaking down the racial lines, if you will, blurred those lines as he should have. I think he's been a very prominent part of that. I think society has also grown with that, though. I think people have gotten, fortunately, over the past couple of decades, things have gotten to the point that society is heading more and more in the right direction. And Michael undoubtedly has been a part of that.
30, 40 years ago, a lot of marketing people would have been very, very reluctant to hire an African-American spokesperson of any type. Because it's, two reasons. There would certainly have been a different racial feeling then in terms of the applicability or appropriateness of a black spokesperson to sell products to white people. But more importantly, or at least importantly in my mind, is in the 60s in particular, when there was all the civil rights activity and the marches on Washington, a lot more, I think, kind of media play or presence of this issue. attaching yourself to an African American as a spokesperson would have been problematic because you're dragging all that into the discussion. So I think that certainly the times have had an effect on this thing. And could he have been as big 30 years ago as he is now? No. If everything else was held equal, he wouldn't have been. If we had the same amount of media and the same marketing pressures and the same everything, probably not, because then his being black would have been an issue to a lot of people who would have hired him as an endorser. I think that one of the signs that things have changed is that that's really not an issue now.
Gates' article puts this issue in perspective. Various critics have offered conjectures about the phenomenon, but it may be that David Falk sums it up best. Celebrities aren't black. People don't look at Michael as being black. They accept that he's different because he's a celebrity. I'm not saying it to be derogatory. People who are exclusive and discriminatory don't look at those people as being black. Without ever playing the raceless card, without ever pretending to be anything other than what he was, a black kid from the South, Jordan has made race a non-issue. Still, companies are looking for distinct ways to portray Jordan. Gatorade felt that the best way was to bring back the classics.
It's been for years and years, via the website and other consumer hotlines, consumers and fans have been calling us saying, bring it back, we love it. And we felt that there might be a way to contemporize it a little bit, to make it a little bit more today.
Sometimes I dream that he is me. Got to see it how I dream to be. I dream I move, I dream I groove. Like Mike, if I could be like Mike, I wanna be like Mike. Like Mike, if I could be like Mike, could be like Mike. Be like Mike, oh, be like Mike. Yes, I just need to fly. Oh yes, just one day I could be that way. Boom, 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 boom. I dream I move. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike. I wanna be like Mike. If I could be like Mike. What's up, Mike? Be like Mike. Like Mike. If I could be like Mike.
I'm not going to sing.
People just love seeing Michael, and Gatorade was one of the companies who brought to light Michael in a very kind of one-on-one way. But the great thing about Be Like Mike is people really feel like, hey, I can see what he's really like behind the scenes and what he's like in his real day-to-day life. It's not staged, it's not phony. And so we said, okay, I think there's a way that can fit in what we're doing and what we're doing in '98. And we listened to consumers, not to mention the fact of his career, and we're trying to figure out the best time, how long he's going to be playing. We felt '98 was a good time to, hey, remind everyone that, hey, not like they need to be reminded, but hey, bring this guy back up to the pedestal that he is, and everyone is trying to be like him, no matter how long he's been playing. And hey, this is the guy. And we brought the celebrities in to give it a little bit different twist and feel that not only just everyday people want to be like Mike, hey, even the people who have proven themselves in other fields and industries still want to be like this guy. He's above everyone else.
Even in his ads, Jordan was compared to the greatest, Muhammad Ali.
Olympic gold medalists, world champions, Chevy Blazer owners. Join the club.
Heading into 1998, Nike had exposed their plan for Jordan's future with the company, announcing the plan for Jordan to have his own brand, appropriately named Jordan Incorporated, along with it, a new ad campaign.
He basically, I'm going to be more involved in my product line. He's already involved in it, but so we'll just exaggerate that to the nth degree and make it mythical. And that's essentially what we did.
Michael Jordan is CEO Jordan.
Halftime, the United Center, with the Bulls leading 62.
This has
Phil?
Get the PE.
The S&P.
ASAP.
Proceed. Authorized, denied. Give me the Nikkei close and the Detroit score. Double mesh?
Double mesh.
Double mesh.
Double mesh.
Double mesh. Make the logo bigger.
And the second half is about to begin here at the United Center. Michael Jordan and the Bulls start.
MJ, those new Air Jordans.
That was like, you know, there's all those great business movies were done in the 40s in that look, and so don't you think that the best dressed man in the world would have like the best looking, you know, business, best looking offices in the world is kind of that thing. So we wanted to make that thing as slick and distinguished and tasteful in its appearance and classy as Michael is, and something about that era of business is a lot more classy than today's world of business. That wasn't really the idea, that was more the execution.
We just wanted to make it clear to our consumer that Michael Jordan is intimately involved with this product creation process, and that when he's playing basketball, obviously he's Michael Jordan, the greatest player in the history of the game. But at the blink of an eye, he's in a product meeting and he's reviewing product and he's making decisions, and it's that type of focus that really gives us this opportunity. And we chose the halftime analogy of Michael leaving at halftime and going into a business suit and going to his enterprise and making those kind of decisions. And literally that's how it works when, for example, when the Bulls come out to Portland to play the Blazers, literally after practice, you know, Michael comes right here to campus and we have meetings and discuss product and marketing and other issues, and he's that committed to the process.
Now that he's kind of running his own company at Nike, we just increased the myth some more and made him, you know, the world's greatest basketball player has now become the world's greatest CEO.
Michael Jordan is CEO Jordan.
The CEO Jordan took some selling, but I think it turned out, because I think, you know, what I think is cool about that is if you can get one kid, you can get a couple kids that get interested in business over this, well, that's cool.
Michael Jordan is CEO Jordan.
Hello, MJ, we got a big idea. Meet me in my study. Nice tie. Okay, let's hear it. Single mesh.
Single mesh.
Single mesh. Here's an idea. I'm sending you to business school.
School? Which one?
Bryman.
Bryman?
Yes, Bryman, where you get the training you need to enter the fast-paced worlds of business or medical assistance.
In a shocker, the Bryman College of Business and Medical Assistants upsets Kansas 102-81. Out of nowhere, the improbable fighting slide rules have become a force to be reckoned with victories over Kentucky, Arizona, and arch-rival DeVry.
Better keep up their grades.
Jordan's actually looking into business scholarships and stuff like that to keep promoting, you know, that line of thinking.
We think that's very healthy. The kids have been able to adopt that attitude, and it gives them some aspiration to know that, you know, you can be like Mike on the court, but you can also be like Mike off of the court.
So the question remains, what does the future hold after retirement?
I think we've started something with CEO Jordan. Whether it continues in its current, you know, look and feel and all that stuff, I don't know.
It's tough to predict exactly what his public image will be after he retires. It will change. I think that's a safe bet. in some ways, we may see that his endorsement of non-sport products may live longer than his endorsement of sport-related products because his credibility doesn't change very much for the non-sport products, whereas it may change for the sport-related products because he's simply not an active participant anymore in the sport. Once he retires, I do think that, again, within a year or two of retirement, you'll see much less of him as an endorser. Because, again, some of his endorsement value is tied to his ability to attract media attention as an athlete.
Even if he does retire, it doesn't matter to us because we've always portrayed him as a real person. We don't have him in a basketball uniform. And I think that bodes very well for the future. And again, Michael Jordan is different than other sports legends who endorse products.
There's the part of him that's just everybody loves him, okay? So we put him in our Ballpark Frank commercials because every time you see Michael Jordan, they have this really positive emotional response. You know, they love this guy. And over time, you know, the feelings about him are allegedly or hopefully going to transfer to the brand, so people will have a much warmer, fuzzier feeling about Ballpark Franks. And I think the Ballpark Frank type of endorsements could go on for indefinite amount of time, because I don't know that they require the fact that he be a dominant media figure, other than the fact he's just well recognized, you'll like him. I think to some extent his value as a Nike spokesperson or as a Wheaties spokesperson or as a Gatorade spokesperson is tied to his athleticism and identification of him as an athlete. And again, once he retires, I think he'll have that for a while, but again, someone else will come along. There's only so much money available for athletic endorsers. I mean, it seems vast, but it's not infinite. And at some point in time, whatever he's being paid by Nike or Wheaties or Gatorade will become too much what he gives them now. There's some question as to how much he'll hold his value, because the things that make a retired athlete more valuable may not apply to him because they were things that already made him valuable when he was active. It will be interesting to see, and I think it will be clear that we'll see a different package of endorsements for him after he's retired, and probably some move away from performance-related products.
Knowing that, you know, Michael is approaching at the end of his career, there is sort of that question mark of what happens next. And, you know, for us, you know, we've been answering that question for, 13 years now, and certainly over the past couple of years with the establishment of this brand. So it's not a knee-jerk reaction for us, oh, Michael's retiring, what are we going to do, like some of the other marketing partners may be faced with. How do we continue to connect our brand to Michael and he's not playing anymore? Well, for us, in these halls, we're not scrambling, John Elway 2-minute offense style to come up with what we're going to do, because we've been doing this. So it's just an extension to keep it going, and just knowing that he'll have a little more time on his hands. So if we can get him off the golf course, then we'll be able to have him more involved here. So it's definitely something that we've been planning for and have been executing. We certainly, from a brand communication standpoint, wanted to utilize this past NBA season, as the right time to really elevate the message that the brand was here. It was important for us to execute that within the context of Michael still being a player, and not just once he retires, okay, here's his brand. We very much wanted it to be a smooth transition.
But it just depends what he's going to do. What if he becomes, a lion tamer? Then you're going to do ads about him being a lion tamer. And God knows that if he decides to become a lion tamer, he's going to be an awfully fucking good lion tamer. So I'm waiting and seeing. I let him take the lead, and then, I may help a road go one way, or glom onto something that may not be readily apparent to everybody, and say, well, there's a little nugget that I can take and really have fun with, but it's going to come from him.
We still have a commitment with him. We'll be using him still for years to come. How we use him might change a little bit, and what light we put him in. It might not be as much, obviously, in the Bulls uniform or things of that nature, but we'll still use him to fit into our whatever we're trying to communicate to consumers. He won't, I don't think his impact will lessen in any way for years to come, even if after he's playing basketball. So it's not going to change our mood about him in any way. So we're anxiously watching as everyone else is, but it will change his plans only slightly in terms of execution.
I think Michael Jordan can continue to hawk ballpark franks and Hanes underwear and Energizer batteries forever, Ready batteries forever, because I don't think they require so much of him being an athlete as just being a really positively associated spokesperson. So as long as he doesn't, like I say, quit basketball and become head of a casino empire or something, as long as he kind of maintains himself.
His value as an endorser will probably change. One of the one of the trends we've seen in the use of celebrity endorsers, particularly in sports stars, is that they've used more retired athletes and dead athletes. Babe Ruth was in a campaign recently.
That's brisk, baby.
Give it a ride, babe.
Holy cow, what a shot! Get a case of that stuff for the postseason.
Part of the appeal of doing that is that it's considered safer. The sports star is considered, the retired or obviously dead star is considered less likely to get into trouble or to do anything that would jeopardize their value as a spokesperson.
I think we'll probably have some value for a while because he'll still be seen as a great athlete and a very well-loved athlete, but over time he'll be supplanted by somebody else. I mean, eventually there'll be some other big basketball star that comes along or some other dominant athlete, and Nike will have to say, look, I mean, Michael's a great guy, we love him, but, he can't sell sneakers now like he used to, and this other guy can.
Time will tell if there will be another pitch man or another icon like Michael Jordan.
There will never be another Michael Jordan. I'll say that again. There will never be another Michael Jordan. At Nike, we've given up the search. The NBA has given up the search. And fans across the world need to give up the search as well.
Even when Michael Jordan retires, his presence will still remain. Michael Jordan will stay in the spotlight for many years to come with his endorsement deals. Not only will Jordan be remembered as the greatest basketball player of all time, but he was also introduced to the world in various ways through advertisements.
After looking at Jordan's endorsement career, it's easy to say that a spokesperson should be attractive, credible, and similar to the consumers. However, they must also be versatile to diverse roles. It is because of these reasons that Michael Jordan is a consummate athlete endorser.